All right, folks, so the question out there is Aaron Rodgers not just having the best season inside the NFL, not just having the best season in the history of the NFL, but is Aaron Rodgers having the greatest season of all time across the board in any sport? Kerry, this is the most insane discussion I think we'll ever have.
Well, the numbers kind of speak to that, right?
Yeah.
We're talking comparing him to Babe Ruth in 1927 and things like that.
Jordan 90, 91, Jordan 95, 96.
Yeah,
I mean.
and let's look at his average of 9.2, 9.3 yards per attempt is the most ever by a quarterback with 350 more attempts.
Yeah.
I mean, we like yards per attempt because it tells you who's effective getting the ball down the field. His touchdown interception ratio is ridiculous. I mean, Brady had 50 and 8. In 2007. Right now we're looking at 45 and 6, which is an even better ratio, I believe.
Yeah.
I got to do the math in my head as we go. And his passer rating of over 122 is on pace to break Peyton Manning's record of 2004. So across the board, numbers we've never seen. My only caveat would be, when Babe Ruth was hitting 60 home runs, entire teams were hitting 20.
Yeah.
Right now, passing stats are inflated up and down the spectrum.
Yeah, because I think you just said it, because we saw what happened in 2007 with Brady. We've seen what's happened the last couple of years with Rodgers last year. We've seen what Breeze has been able to accomplish. So the numbers have increasingly been going up altogether.
And they're up for so many players, and it's just records falling left and right. We saw Monday night, Drew Brees. I don't know if you stayed up late. I know you like to get your beauty sleep.
I have to. I got to wake up and host the shows.
It was a great moment when Drew Brees broke Dan Marino's record, which, by the way, depending on how much he plays, he could pad that, or Tom Brady of the Patriots could break that record again this week coming up. But when you have 2-3 guys assaulting, a long time, a 3-decade-old record, it tells you that things have changed in the sport. And the couple things that have changed, we talked earlier about the live ball era. But that's been since 1978. The thing that really changed football more recently, one is the high-efficiency passing attack, the high-efficiency, low-risk passing attack. Okay. In the olden days, teams attacked downfield more aggressively. So they had a higher average per attempt, but more interceptions and a lower completion percentage. But in 2000, after the 2003 AFC title game, when the Patriots beat up the Colts receivers, I don't know if you remember that game.
Absolutely.
The NFL came out and said, we're going to reemphasize, pass interference. And they made it virtually impossible since then to play pass defense. And it's really after that point, going into the 2004 season, where every year there's new records falling, starting with Peyton Manning with his 49 touchdown passes and 121 passer rating in 2004. So it's really a combination of, technique and style and the way the game's played and better quarterbacking and also just the NFL making it tough to play defense.
I was going to say, when was the last time you actually saw a true bump and run defense? It doesn't necessarily happen.
I personally, I don't know what you think. As a football fan, and I know I'm not in the majority here, I don't like it. I think the quarterbacks are too efficient. I think it actually it takes away from the game.
I like defense. As a kid that played when I was younger, the defense was the fun part of it all.
And people don't realize the NFL teams scored more points in the late 40s and the 1950s and 1960s than they do today.
Yeah.
All that passing has not increased scoring. To me, it's almost boring. 1, 2, 3 throw, 1, 2, 3 throw. It's almost like it's not exciting. I think it was more exciting in the 60s when teams were aggressively attacking downfield, more likely to be turnovers, more likely to be defensive scores, more likely for big explosive plays than you see today. And again, the TV ratings say I'm in the minority.
Yeah, you're in the minority.
But as a football fan, I kind of would like to see defenders be able to go at receivers a little bit more and have a little more.
What's funny too is it goes back to what you were talking about earlier as far as defensive efficiency. You look at those three teams, the quarterbacks that could be, the quarterbacks that are actually breaking the records right now. You've got Brees, obviously broke it last night. You've got Brady, who's, like you said before, could be breaking it. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at Rodgers, who's going to be setting his own type of pacing. We look at these different things, and we start to say at a certain point, we say, well, the defenses aren't there, but look at their defenses as well, because you had mentioned it before. Their defenses do give up a ton of yards, but they are somewhat efficient.
Well, they are efficient because, especially in the case of the Packers, who lead the NFL in interceptions. They've been giving up a lot of yards, and people say, well, it's because they have a lead. Well, that doesn't explain it all. A lot of teams have had big leads and have had to play a lot of pass defense. But what they do well is they're the best in the NFL at picking off passes. Those turnovers are hugely, help immensely. We have something we call the interception ladder. Every time you intercept a pass, it increases your chances of winning by 20 percentage points. It's really remarkable. One play has such a huge difference. Offensively, you throw an interception, it decreases your chances of winning by 20 percentage points. So all those, I forget what the number is now, up to 28, 29 interceptions for the Packers, easily the most in the NFL. That's a big reason why they're 14-1 with giving up all those passing yards.
No, I have to ask this because this article in particular really forces a lot of ideas of, well, what if Aaron Rodgers goes on to beat the Lions, beat the Saints, and beat the Patriots, then obviously, we can start to have more of a discussion. Well, he's the greatest quarterback of all time in this single season. But I have to wonder, at the end of this year, who is going to be the MVP-wise because of this? Because Breeze, as far as statistics go, he's got a lot of the happy stats that people love. But efficiency-wise and so on and so forth, you have to look at Rodgers.
Right now you have 3 quarterbacks who in any other year would all be MVPs.
All be MVPs, exactly.
You know what I mean? And only one can get it. And I think in terms of Rodgers, you have to look, he's just been really that much more efficient than anybody else.
Yeah.
That average per attempt is mind-blowing to me. An average quarterback averages about 7 yards every time they pass the football.
Yep.
Every time they step back to throw a pass. He's more than 2 yards better than that, a really historically good number. And that shows you how efficient he's been with, all those touchdowns with so few picks. 5 years ago, the numbers we're talking about are the numbers that Brady put up in 2007 with the 50-8. We had never seen anything like that in the history of football. So it tells you, one, the strategy, the technique of the position is so much more advanced than it's ever been, but they're just not, the defense is just not there. And we could also, though, see a change in philosophy. You could see, more talented, teams in college and the pros start looking for putting the more talented guys on the defensive side of the ball because they need to learn how to play defense again.
Yep.
See those guys matriculating up through the NFL. These things do come in cycles. There may be a day down the road where defenses kind of reemerge, stronger than they are today.
So a regular Joe off the street like me will say, no way, Aaron Rodgers is not actually having the greatest season of all time. Stats don't lie. What are you going to say?